Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to a brewery who you hadn't seen me review for ages up until a few videos ago, and we're going to go back to Gothenburg, which is of course the beer city in Sweden these days, and we're going to revisit Electric Nurse, and we've got a special version of one of their really quite good beers today. This was one of the small partiers that was released on the 19th of October 2018. So for this one we're having the rum barrel aged version of their Dark Skull Imperial Stout, which is of course an Imperial coconut stout. It comes in at 12.8%, and this one is a kind of collaboration beer that they did with Victor Brandt, who was the bassist for Untappd. I'm not sure if he's still with them, but he's now the bassist for Dimmu Borgir as well, who are pretty good. I mean, I'm not into that type of metal so much. I'm more of a kind of folk metal, power metal, kind of doom metal as well. I love Candlemass and things like that, and you know, Iron Maiden and thrash and all this kind of thing. I like that sort of metal. I'm not so much into the kind of darker things like that, but yeah, very very good musician and a good band, I have to say. They are, you can appreciate them even if it's not quite your type of metal. But yeah, the original Dark Skull Stout is an absolute beast of a beer. I really enjoyed reviewing that one, so I'm very very curious to see how it turns out when it's been aged in rum barrels a little bit. I think this will be a very interesting review, so I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer as always. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Electric Nurse before. No doubt there will be some more in the fairly near future. I'll definitely make sure there's not such a big gap between them as there was before I reviewed the original Dark Skull. But there's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Electric Nurse then. So as I've told you before, Electric Nurse are a phantom brewery from Gothenburg, or Göteborg as you'd say in Swedish. Like I say, Sweden's the beer city in Sweden these days. But they were founded back in 2012 by Peter Robertson, who is from England if I'm remembering correctly, and Ida Engström, of course, who is Swedish. So Peter is an electrical engineer while Ida is a nurse, and hence they came up with this name Electric Nurse, which is pretty catchy of course. But both of them really loved the American hoppy beers because of the big fruity and sweet qualities and things like that. But they released their first beers back in early 2013, but more recently they've expanded their range as well to produce a lot of different styles, and they've now added a third member to their team, which is Jesper, and Peter and Ada are now working full time at the brewery as well. And most of the beer is actually produced at the Dugas brewery, but they also produce some other beers at other breweries around at the Gothenburg area as well. Like I say, they are a phantom brewery. They don't have their own facility as such, but they do produce a considerable volume actually. They do produce quite a lot of stuff actually, and their beers, the Dark Skull of course, from what I gather, is available on the shelves nationwide. It really is quite a popular beer, that. And you know, Dugas Brewery, of course, one of the things that they are really awesome at is actually producing stouts and Imperial stouts. So they brew some of the ones for Omnipollo, of course, as well. They brew the one for Electric Nurse, and of course they do their own things, which are very good. Personally, I would really recommend the Imperial coffee stouts from Dugas Brewery. They're really really good at that style of beer, and I do hope they continue them now that Hunter and Sons are no more, of course, like I said in other videos. But yeah, Electric Nurse, I've had the Marmalade IPA, I've had a couple of pale ales and things like that from them. These guys are very good at the lighter end of the spectrum, but they're also very good at the darker end of the spectrum as well. So if you get the chance to try some of their beers, I highly recommend that you do, and regardless of what style you pick, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy some of these beers. So give them a go if you get the chance. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website. You can also have a little look at their Facebook page and their Instagram and things like that. You can hear Shell running around outside again. But yeah, nice brewery this one. If you get the chance, have a taste of some of their beers. But let's get on to the actual tasting of this one. Turn off the computer now because we don't need the brewery notes here. So it says on the side here, an electrician and a nurse. We met and started brewing beer. Simple. Hi, we're Electric Nurse. So this is a barrel-aged Imperial coconut stout collaboration with musician Victor Brandt, and we have matured the beer in plantation rum barrels for a few months to add another layer of taste sensation. Unfiltered to retain as much taste as possible. Stored store it in a cool and dark place until serving. Ida and Peter. So yeah, nicely presented this one. I'm not sure if... Oh, I was going to say, I thought that was maybe mistletoe there, but no, it's palm trees with coconuts on it actually. Because you can see that there. I don't know why I thought that was like mistletoe or something. This colour of this label doesn't seem to agree with the camera all that much, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, nicely presented beer. This one, plain bottle cap as well. But yeah, as I say, I enjoyed the first version of this beer, which I want to say was... It was either 10.7, I've got a feeling, I want to say it was 10.7% ABV actually, the original Dark Skull, but that was a beautiful beer. But yeah, nicely presented this one. So without further ado, let's get it out and get on with the taste. A 12.8% Imperial Stout, aged in rum barrels, an Imperial Coconut Stout. So yeah. As you can see, a nice little smoky opening there when we opened that up. And it pours pretty much as you would expect from an Imperial Stout. A nice dark ebony rosewood colour there. Let's make sure we get every drop, because we're Scottish and stingy, you know. But yeah, you can really smell the coconut on this one as you open it up, and there's some lovely sort of brown sugary notes coming out of this. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, lovely dark ebony rosewood colour. There's a solid half finger of a frothy kind of beigey tan head to this one. It looks very, very nice. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass. Quite a few little ones headed up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall, pretty much as you would expect in terms of appearance from an Imperial Stout. If I hold it up to the light, it's got a little bit of a kind of Coca-Cola edge to it, a sort of dark chestnutty thing, but overall it mainly is a sort of really dark ebony, almost pitch black colour, which, like I said, is what you would expect from this style. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we actually get on with this beer. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Again, even when you think back to the original Dark Skull, this is a beautiful beer. You really can smell the rum sugars in this one, that kind of brown sugar cane that you get out of this one. It does smell absolutely lovely. Just take a little bit of time, and as I always say, and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But yeah, with this one, lovely big dark chocolatey malts. It's got a bit of that higher cocoa chocolate in there. You can smell that there's a little touch of a roasty black malt kind of forming the baseline of the beer. On top of that, you get the nice high cocoa chocolates. There's a little bit of a milky chocolate presence to this one as well. But of course, you've got the coconut kind of mixing in with that actually. This beer's got a nice sort of vanilla kind of infused aroma to it as well. And that'll be from the rum barrels, of course, that nice oaky vanilla. You can definitely pick that up in here. But the brown sugars are the things that are really sticking out to me on this beer. The coconut and the vanilla, when you sugar it up a little bit, if you sugar it up like this and go straight into it, it's coconut all the way up your nose, but it mixes. The coconut, I feel, is kind of mixing with the chocolate and the vanilla in this beer. But the brown sugars are coming out more towards the front of the nose, which is quite interesting. So yeah, you've got a nice sweet caramel in there. It's a little bit toasted as well, I would say, but it is leaning towards the sweeter side of things. I don't think it's a kind of treacly brown sugar, this one. I think it is more of a sweet caramel, but then the rummy notes from the beer, it will give you that lighter sugar caney note, I would say. So you can really pick that up in this beer. This one, the aroma, of course, leans towards the sweet side of things, which is what you would expect when it's an Imperial coconut stout. You can really pick that up in this beer. But yeah, it smells lovely, this one. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you get stuck into it, because it does smell like a really lovely beer, this one. So yeah, little touch of earthiness from the hops. There's a wee bit of a... Yeah, there's a little touch of a red fruity note to this one, a kind of figgy or pruny sort of thing coming out of it. And it's got a little touch of a phenol quality. There is almost a little bit of just a kind of cough syrupy sort of fruity note coming out of this beer as well. But it smells beautiful, this one. As I always say, take a bit of time and enjoy that aroma before you get stuck in. But let's have a taste of this one now. So this one is the Rum Barrel Aged Dark Skull from Electric Nurse, a Phantom brewery from the Gothenburg area on the west coast of Sweden. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skål. Yeah, that is a pretty damn good beer. It's quite different. I actually don't find this one as sweet as the original. The original one for me did come across quite a bit sweeter than that, which I'm surprised about actually. I thought this beer would be like really smooth and even sweeter, but this one to me, it almost feels a little bit drier, if that makes sense. It just almost, at the front of the palate and things, it just feels a little touch drier, which I really did not expect. But yeah, that is a really damn good beer. If you get the chance to pick one of these up, have a go at it. It's one thing I don't know actually. I don't know how widely Electric Nurse actually distribute their beers. I know it's nationwide in Sweden, but I don't know if they send them to Norway or Denmark or anything like that. But with the quality of their beers, I think if they did do that, they would actually do quite well. I don't think they're sold in stores, at least. They maybe put them to restaurants in other countries, but I've never seen them actually sold in stores in Denmark or anything like this. But as I say, this is a nice beer. Their Dark Skull, I think if they put that out to somewhere else, that would do very well. But yeah, this is a nice beer. I will say, I was saying that it was, my first impression of it was that it was a bit dry compared to the original, but I will say this is maybe one that you just need to take a few sips of and let your palate kind of adjust and open up to it a little bit. Don't judge it too quickly. I made the kind of call a bit early on this one, but yeah, it's a lovely beer, this one. So let's try and break it down. Middle of your palate, you can feel just kind of forming the linchpin of the beer, that little bit of the roasty black malt backbone. You can feel that just forming the linchpin of the beer. There's a little bit of a roasty black malt just coming out of it later on actually. But yeah, on top of that, you get this nice dark sort of chocolatey note to the beer, and it's a kind of high cocoa chocolate actually. But again, the beer's sort of drying out in the middle of my palate. Maybe you need to let this one age a little bit in the bottle and smooth out a little bit more. But that said, it doesn't have, usually you can tell when an Imperial Stout's quite young, it has a little bit of hoppy bitterness to it, like quite a good bit. But for me, this one, even as it stands, feels very smooth. I mean, you can age Imperial Stouts for a fair time in the bottle without them going bad and things like that. You know, you can age Imperial Stouts for years actually, which is the thing. But this one to me feels very smooth, but in the middle of the palate it just has a little bit of this dryness to it. But as I say, dark chocolate in the middle of the palate, it becomes a little bit more milky the further that you go into the aftertaste. So I think, you know, if you think about 80-ish% cocoa, then it almost like fades away to be a sort of 40-ish% cocoa sort of beer, this one, the chocolate flavours in this one. In the middle of your palate you get the nice kind of brown sugars, and you can feel that the rummy flavours are kind of infused in that. It's got that lighter sugar-caney flavour, and it's got the same kind of vibe to it as a sort of biscuity malt kind of thing. It's really interesting actually, but you can feel that in the middle of your palate, but there is certainly a bit of a kind of syrupy sweetness just underneath that, which is good. But yeah, I like how this one kind of comes across. It's definitely different from the other from the original. It is quite a bit different actually compared to that. It's interesting how aging something in a barrel can change it quite a bit actually. But as you come further forward on the palate there, you can feel the woody oaky flavours there. That comes out a little bit. The coconut, I think, is just kind of sitting in the middle of the palate towards the front a little bit. It's got that nice kind of coconut thing, and it just sort of spreads throughout everything else as well. It's interesting how those coconutty flavours kind of come out in this one, but definitely a completely different vibe to this beer in comparison with the other ones that I've had or the other original Dark Skull beer that I've had. But I do like what this one's doing actually. Maybe I just needed to age this beer a little bit more, but I was very keen to try it, of course. But yeah, the malt base in this one is really quite nice actually. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of you've got a little bit of an earthy hop in there. As you come further forward along the sides of the palate, it does just smooth out a little bit, and then when you get towards the very front curve of the palate, you can pick up there's a tiny little touch of floral quality in there, and then round the very front curve of the palate, it's just got a little bit of a lighter sort of grassy edge to it. Again, as you age this beer a little bit more, they will smooth out. It's not as if it's not even that high in terms of the IBUs and things. I'd guess it's about 20 or something like that. But that will smooth out if you age this beer a little bit more. But yeah, in terms of the fruity side of this beer too, that's nice. I mean, if you just go behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get that little oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And for me, yeah, this one's got that phenolic, that sort of cough syrupy thing in the aroma that I was picking up, that's definitely not in the flavour of the beer. This one's got a nice sort of figgy thing to it. That kind of pushes out into the aftertaste. Initially, the fruity flavours, I think, are quite sharp. It's got a little bit of a raisiny kind of sharpness to it, and then it just sort of fades away to be a little bit more kind of pruny and things. And as you go further into the aftertaste, there's a little bit of the roasty black malt starts to push its way out, but you can feel the rummy coconut flavours just kind of lingering there a little bit, which is really nice. But as I say, there's just my main impression of this one that I've got when I think about the other one, which I only reviewed about a week or two ago actually. I remember the other one being a lot sweeter in the palate. This one just has a little bit more of a dry quality to it, which is kind of interesting. I wouldn't have expected that actually, but as it stands, it is a nice beer. I have to admit, if I was to taste them blindfolded, and if I was to taste them both blindfolded, I wouldn't have thought that they were, you know, as closely related as they are. I'm very surprised at the effect that the barrel aging has had on this one. It's really interesting actually. It does just feel a little bit drier. I don't know if that's because of the higher alcohol content. As I say, I've got a feeling that the original Dark Skull is like 10.7%, either that or it's like 11.7, it could be something like that, so there is a little bit of difference in the ABV, but I wouldn't have thought that would have meant a slightly drier palate like this one has. But in terms of the mouthfeel then, with this beer, I would say it's the bottom end of full-bodied. Yeah, bottom end of full-bodied. Carbonation's very smooth on this one. It's an oily mouthfeel, but at the same time it does have a little bit of a wetness to it, which is nice. And yeah, I would say it's definitely got a little bit of wetness there. The malt base, it's interesting, this one, as I say, it's a little bit drier, it's got a good bit of sweetness to it, but it becomes quite smooth as well. The malt base in this beer is really quite interesting. There's a little bit of a hoppy bitterness there, but it's by no means is this beer going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs, and then there's just a little touch of a juicy fruity quality as well. The beer does get a little bit more roasty and toasty as you go into the aftertaste too, but overall, a really, really nice beer, and I'm glad that I was able to review this one. As I say, I'm just surprised at the effect that the rum barrel aging has had on this one, but it definitely works. But if I blind tasted it, I probably wouldn't have guessed that these two beers were related. So yeah, an interesting beer, this one. But a big thumbs up once again to Electric Nurse. Like I've said, the quality of their lighter style beers, the paleos and IPAs, is very good, and they're obviously very good at the darker beers as well. So that's the mark of a good brewer. If they can do both ends of the spectrum well, then you know you're laughing. It's a good brewery. But have a try of some of their beers, and if you get the chance, have a go with this one and just see what you think. The Dark Skull is available all throughout Sweden, so it's fairly easy to get a hold of one of those, and I would recommend that you do. But let's leave it at that for this one then. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Electric Nurse, and as always, make sure you have a go at some of the beers for yourself. But once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys later. This was the Rum Barrel Aged Dark Skull from Electric Nurse Brewery, a phantom brewery in Gothenburg here in Sweden. Until the next time, Slange now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Skål!